Imagine this for a moment. It's late at night, your day is almost over, and you walk into your kitchen with one simple goal: to eat something quickly without putting in too much effort. You open your refrigerator, and there it is, a container filled with leftovers from yesterday's meal. Maybe it's rice, maybe it's chicken, maybe it's those crispy fries you couldn't finish. In that moment, you feel smart, responsible, efficient. You didn't waste food, you saved money, you planned ahead. So naturally, you take that container out, place it in the microwave, press a button, and wait. This is normal. This is routine. This is something millions of people across the United States and around the world do every single day without even thinking about it. But what if I told you that this exact moment, this simple everyday habit, is one of the most misunderstood behaviors when it comes to long-term health? Not because reheating food is dangerous on its own, but because most people have never been taught how to do it correctly, and small mistakes repeated over time can quietly affect your body in ways you don't immediately notice. Let's be clear right from the start. This is not about creating fear, and it's definitely not about telling you to throw away your leftovers. Leftovers are practical. They save time, reduce waste, and make life easier. The real issue lies in the details that most people overlook: how long food sits before being stored, how it is stored, how many times it is reheated, and the method used to reheat it. These small details can influence not only the taste and texture of your food, but also its safety and nutritional quality. And over weeks, months, and years, these small habits add up. Not in a dramatic overnight way, but slowly, quietly, and consistently. Think about fried foods for a moment. Fries, fried chicken, anything cooked in oil. These foods are already exposed to high heat during the initial cooking process. When you reheat them, especially by frying them again in oil, you are subjecting those same fats to another round of intense heat. This repeated heating can cause the oils to break down further through a process known as oxidation. As oils oxidize, they can form compounds that contribute to oxidative stress in the body. Oxidative stress is essentially an imbalance between harmful molecules and your body's ability to neutralize them. Over time, this imbalance is linked to inflammation, and chronic inflammation is something researchers associate with many long-term health conditions. Now, this doesn't mean reheating fried food once is going to harm you. Context always matters. But if this becomes a regular habit, reheating and refrying the same food multiple times a week, it's worth paying attention to. A simple change, like using an oven or an air fryer instead of adding more oil, can significantly reduce this effect while still giving you the texture you want. Now, let's move to something that might surprise you even more: leafy greens. Spinach, kale, and similar vegetables are often called superfoods, and for good reason. They are packed with nutrients that support your body in countless ways. But like all natural foods, they contain certain compounds, in this case, nitrates. In their fresh state, nitrates are harmless and even beneficial. However, under certain conditions, such as improper storage followed by repeated reheating, these nitrates can be converted into nitrites, and in some cases into compounds known as nitrosamines. These compounds have been studied for their potential health effects when exposure is high over long periods. Again, this is not about avoiding leafy greens, it's about handling them properly. Eating them fresh, storing them correctly, and avoiding reheating them multiple times are simple steps that allow you to keep all the benefits without unnecessary risk. Now consider rice, one of the most common foods found in kitchens everywhere. Rice seems simple, safe, and reliable, but there's something about rice that most people are never told. Uncooked rice can contain spores of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. These spores are incredibly resilient and can survive the cooking process. When cooked rice is left at room temperature for too long, those spores can activate, multiply, and produce toxins. Here's the important part. Some of these toxins are heat-resistant. That means reheating the rice may kill the bacteria, but it may not destroy the toxins that have already formed. This is why proper storage is so important. Rice should be cooled quickly after cooking, stored in the refrigerator within about an hour, and ideally eaten within a day. When reheating, it should be steaming hot all the way through, and it should not be reheated multiple times. These are simple habits, but they make a big difference. Let's talk about chicken next. Chicken is one of the most commonly reheated foods, and in most cases it's completely safe, if reheated properly. The issue here isn't the chicken itself, but the way microwaves heat food. Microwaves do not always heat evenly. They work by exciting water molecules, and because different parts of the food have different moisture levels and densities, some areas heat faster than others. This creates what are known as cold spots, areas that may not reach a temperature high enough to eliminate bacteria. If the chicken has been exposed to contamination after cooking, these cold spots can allow bacteria to survive. The solution is simple, but often ignored. Cut the chicken into smaller, even pieces. Stir or flip it halfway through reheating. Let it rest for a couple of minutes after heating so the temperature evens out. Or better yet, use an oven for more consistent heating. Now let's look at potatoes. Potatoes are interesting because their nutritional properties actually change depending on how they're handled. When cooked and then cooled, potatoes form something called resistant starch. This type of starch is digested more slowly and can support gut health and stable blood sugar levels. However, when reheated at high temperatures, especially by frying again, this resistant starch can break down back into regular starch, reducing its benefits. At the same time, high heat can lead to the formation of compounds like acrylamide, which has been studied for potential health risks. Again, this doesn't mean potatoes are bad. It simply means that how you reheat them matters. Gentler reheating, or even eating them cold in certain dishes, can be a better option. When you step back and look at all of this, one thing becomes clear. This is not about one specific food being dangerous. It's about patterns. It's about habits. It's about the small decisions you make every single day without thinking. Your body is incredibly resilient. It can handle occasional mistakes. But repeated exposure to poor food handling practices can slowly add stress over time. Not enough to notice immediately, but enough to matter in the long run. So what can you do? The good news is that the solution is simple. Cool your food quickly after cooking. Don't leave it sitting out for hours. Store it properly in tight containers in the refrigerator. Reheat food thoroughly so it is hot all the way through, but avoid reheating the same food multiple times. Choose gentler methods like steaming or baking instead of frying again. And when possible, eat freshly cooked food or consume certain leftovers cold if it makes sense. At the end of the day, your goal is not perfection. Your goal is awareness. You don't need to overthink every meal or worry about every bite, but understanding these small details gives you the power to make better choices without adding stress to your life. Because real health doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from doing the small things right again and again, every single day. This is Dr. Michael Healthy, reminding you that better health doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from doing the small things